The following video is brought to you by Tokullectibles and viewers like you. Thank you.
Hey guys, Lenny here. Welcome back to another review. Today we're going to take a look at the DX Haouken Cross Saber from Kamen Rider Saber, our final form item for this year, and quite beautiful as well, if I could say that myself. So, because yeah, this is actually quite the final form item, if I really do say so myself. Anyway, taking a closer look though at the Haouken, as you can see, we got some really nice dark blue detailing with some nice clear plastic bits with some sparkle, some glitter patterns there, and it's all throughout the blade. It's all throughout the sword with the edge of the blade all the way to the top at the bottom hilt, as well as the sides of the emblem, which I think is a good spot to talk about now. As you can see, it's a very nice, beautiful red chrome finish, and of course we also do have this little red visor piece here, as well as surrounding all this clear plastic as well. This also is a push button as well, which I did not know was a thing, but however, we will get more into that in a bit. Of course, as you can see, the emblem does have this elongated section, which again is more for the gimmick of the sword, which we will get to in a minute. But the rest of the sword is very much beautiful with this nice metallic, sparkly, speckled blue pattern, which really does represent where it comes from in space. And of course, we also do have the little yellow sections here, as well as this little strip with the Saber text and the red visuals, which cover up all of the emblems from all of our Saber riders, minus Faustion. And on the back here, we also do have the same beautiful detail with the speckle patterns, except this time we actually do have some purple to contrast the dark blue, which is a really nice touch, even on the trigger there. And for comparison, here it is with the Haouken Rekka, or the Seiken Sword Driver. As you can see, the Haouken Cross Saber is definitely longer, but in terms of weight, this is definitely lighter, and this is more heavy. But in terms of how it feels, it's definitely nice. I do wish that the handle was a little bit thicker, in my opinion, because it does fit my hand, but it's a little too thin for my taste. But at any rate, getting back on track here, we actually do have our on-off switch right here. And if you turn it on, you get nice, loud, and proud. Taking a closer look, though, at the light-up gimmick. Nice and echoey. And of course, when you do hit the trigger, you get your generic slashies. You can rapid fire that if you want. And that's pretty much it. There's nothing really much else you can do here in this mode. But, however, though, you do get some compatibility with attack noises, but I'm going to get into those when we get done with the transformations, which is something I should probably be getting to right about now. So essentially what you want to do is you want to take the Seiken Sword Driver itself, put that off to the side, and you want to take the Haouken and place it inside the belt buckle. Get that nice little confirmation noise. And when you press the trigger here, you actually don't get the same generic noise that you normally get. You actually do get voice clips from Toma when this thing's plugged in, as well as a bunch of other attack noises as well. Unfortunately, I will not be going over those in this video, but I already did make a separate video the other week going over all the dialogue and sounds and such with the Haouken Cross Saber. So if you haven't already checked that out, I would suggest you go ahead and check that out, because I'm not going to be covering it in this video. Anyway, now that we've got all of that out of the way, let's go ahead and transform into Cross Saber. So what you're going to do is you're going to take your ride book, press it down, pop it in, get that nice little transformation jingle, and unleash. this defines final forms. At any rate, as you can see, the transformation is very long, quite long actually. But another thing that is worth mentioning is that when you compare this to Commander Grand Geo's Henshin and Gates Majesty's Henshin, this thing is subsequently longer by 3 seconds, making this the longest final form jingle in Kamen Rider's history. By 3 seconds. I'm going to let that sink in for you, but I'm just going to continue on. But at any rate, as you can see, when you do these, just the standard Wonder Ride book, you do get the Cross Saber transformation. However, though, one flaw that I do have with this is that it doesn't actually scan any of the Wonder Ride books, but it does know when, because these 3 spots here, while they are markers for the Seiken riders, this also does know 1 Wonder Ride book is slotted in, 2 Wonder Ride books are slotted in, 3 Wonder Ride books are slotted in, so on and so forth. However, though, this thing does read Brave Dragon as well as Lion Senki and Lampeton and Gina, which I will get into in a minute. But at any rate, though, since we've already got the main transformation out of the way, let's go ahead and talk about some of the attack combos that you can do with this, since we've already gotten that out of the way. But at any rate, like I said, this thing does have a gimmick of its own, and essentially, you got this little track section right above the battery compartment, and essentially what you're going to do is you're going to move this up, and when you move this up, it'll give you the option to scan any of the riders here. So, for example, if I move it up to the first slot, it'll do that little standby loop. What I'm going to do is I'm going to press the trigger to basically select the sword that I want. And it won't know which one that I selected until I bring it down. So now it's scanned Nagare. Now, for example, say I want to move back up to the next row, and I want to choose Susune. And if I want to move up to the third slot, I would just do it like I already demonstrated. And choose any one of the riders that are shown here. I mean, you can scan more than one, but for the sake of simplicity, let's go ahead and just debut what we got right now. So essentially, this toy tells you that you can mix and match different Seiken sword combinations, and there is no limit to how many you could use. So, for example, say I want to take Rekka, Ikazuchi, Gekido, and all 4 of the ones up here. So, like that, you've got no limit here. Now, there is one more thing that you can do, and that is when you press the button here, that will give you the option to scan all the groups of the Seikens. You don't have to scan these things individually, so all you have to do is just hit the center piece right here. So what you're going to do is you're going to move this over a section, and it'll just say scan this number of swords. And you can do this with all of them, so for the sake of simplicity, I'm just going to scan all of them. So the fact that you can not only mix and match combinations, but also scan all of 10 of the swords into one big attack really does sell with this overall toy, because the compatibility here is through the roof. Speaking of compatibility, okay, now that we got all of that out of the way, we can go ahead and take a look at the Wonder Ride Book combinations that this toy will do. So what you're going to do is you're going to put it back in. And you don't technically have to use King of Arthur for for the Wonder Ride Book combinations. Say you want to use Tokullectibles, but for the sake of simplicity's sake, we're just going to go ahead and just use King of Arthur. And this is the candy toy version because I don't want the DX version, sadly. But at any rate, so essentially to activate Hybrid Saber, all you have to do is just have a second Wonder Ride Book and have it be all the way over here. It can't be in the middle slot, it has to be in the end slot. So let's go ahead and take a look at that. That's awesome in and of itself, because not only do you get an extended jingle there, but it also tells you what exactly it is and everything else in between. Normally people would complain about that sort of thing, but this, honestly, in Saber's case, I don't mind this that much. But yeah, like I said, it doesn't matter what Wonder Ride Book you honestly do use. So, for example, so yeah, as I was saying, it knows that it's in Hybrid Saber mode, but it doesn't specifically scan King of Arthur. So now that we got the 2-volume form out of the way, let's go ahead and talk about the 3-volume form. Now, like I said, it doesn't matter which ones you use, but for the sake of simplicity, we're just going to use Crimson Saber with the cross form. Now, essentially what you're going to do is you're going to plop both of these in, and just go to town from there. All of these are lovely, and this is the last time I'm going to comment on the Haitian jingles because I'm going to be repeating myself every time this happens. But essentially, that is what you get when you do Cross Saber 3, and nothing really changes for the significance of the Wonder Ride Books, but the overall compatibility that you do get with this is pretty great in of itself. Now, there is another version of Hybrid Saber that you can't, not Hybrid Saber, Crimson Saber that you can do, but it involves both Lion Senki and Lion Gina. Like, that's awesome in of itself. But yeah, it's very nice how this thing, it's very nice how this thing has a special mode for the first, secondary, and hereditary riders for this year's show. And that's really nice. I really do wish that most Final Form gimmicks would do something more like this, but as more for the Final Forms rather than a third quarter power-up. Looking at you, Geo Trinity. Also, you're probably wondering why I'm not doing the final attack sounds for most of these combos, because they're essentially all the same, except it's going to say hybrid, Crimson, or publication final attacks. But yeah, other than that, though, that's pretty much all the compatibility that you do get with Brave Dragon and the rest of the Winter Ride books. And like I said, this will work with any of the Winter Ride books, so essentially if you want to do Storm Eagle, Sayu Journey, and Knight of Arthur in the Crimson Saber form, you can technically do that. So yeah, there's really nothing much else to come about here. However, there is one more option when it comes to this toy specifically. Now, this toy's been out for a while now, and you probably already know what I'm going to talk about, but I'm going to do it anyway because it's a segue to another to the gag. But at any rate, if you do have any of the Legend Rider Wonder Ride books, you get something pretty damn cool, if I could say so myself. So let's go ahead and line them up. So here we have Forze, the 40th anniversary. Here we have Gaim, the 15th anniversary of the Ace Arena. Here we have GO, the last anniversary and the 20th Ace Arena Rider. This thing acknowledges the 50th anniversary of Kamen Rider, and it represents all three eras beautifully. And the fact that this thing acknowledges it is definitely worth it for any collector, in my personal opinion. Comparing this to past Final Form items is a little bit tricky because while most people think that Saber is one of the worst things that ever come out of Rider, and some of them agree that it's complicated, and some of them agree that it's probably one of the best things to come out of Rider, it's very hard to tell where this will rank up with most people. But personally, if you really like Saber and you really like just intricate and interesting Final Form items, then this is definitely the item for you. But on the other hand, though, trying to find this thing in the aftermarket, because Tokullectibles probably sold out of this thing by now, is a little bit difficult. But other than that, though, this is a very nice little item. I think it's probably one of the best Final Form items we've gotten in a long time. But that's just my personal opinion. But if you guys do like this video, feel free to drop a like and leave a comment on what I should take a look at next. And thank you guys so much for watching this video. And next week, we're going to be taking a look at the DX Ultraman Trigger Guts Select Spark Lens. And with all that being said, this is GhostGamer90 signing out. See you next time, and thanks for watching.